さんおはようございます。今日の記事なんですが、Today for our article, we have 日本がアメリカに輸出する車などの関税 15% になる。そう、日本が Japan、アメリカに to America 輸出する to export 車などの関税。So, 車 being cars, などの this is like a such as, then we have 関税, which is tariffs. So, tariffs for karumas, no, for cars. Tariffs for cars, 車などの関税 that are exported to America by Japan. So, 日本がアメリカに輸出する車などの関税15% になる。Become 15%. So, basically tariffs that were previously higher from the United States for cars that were sent from Japan to the United States will now be cheaper at 15%. I believe it was 25%. Here is our vocabulary from the article. 輸出 export or 輸出する to export. 車 a car. 関税 tariffs. 足す to add. 話し合う to discuss. 約束する to promise. 大統領 president of a country, not the president of a company. This would be a president of a country. 書類 documents. サインする to sign something, or sign by itself is just a signature. 政府 government. 大臣 minister. 投資 投資する investment and to invest. Okay, so here is our grammar point from the article. We have an adjective followed by naru. And there are different ways to connect these adjectives to naru depending on whether it's an e adjective or a na adjective. And what this means is it turns into a state where that adjective becomes true. So it's not in that state first, then it changes into that state. So in order to use this grammar before the naru, if it's an e adjective, we drop the e and then add ku, then naru. And then if it's a na adjective, you just leave it as it is, don't add a na, so just leave it as it is, and then add ni naru. And so that means to turn into that adjective or to become that adjective. So here we have two example sentences, one with an e adjective and then one with a na adjective. So just to recap how we conjugate, let's use the adjectives we have. So we have kashikoi. So kashikoi is smart or intelligent. Kashikoi is an e adjective, so in order to change it or to add naru to this to say become smart, we drop that e, so kashikoi becomes kashikoku. We add that ku, and then we add naru. So kashikoi, smart. Kashikoku naru is to become smart or get smart. Then in the second sentence, we have kirei. Since kirei is a na adjective, we just do not add the na. We just keep kirei as it is, and then add ni naru. And then this is in the negative, so it'd be kirei ni naranai. So that is how we do e adjectives and na adjectives. So here are our example sentences. We got バナナをたくさん食べると賢くなるって聞いたことがあるけど、本当かな? So バナナをたくさん食べると if you eat lots of bananas, 賢くなる 賢くなる So you will get smart. You will become smart. って聞いたことがある So this te kind of quotes that whole thing. This is the thing that I have heard. 聞いたことがある. 聞いた is here, and past tense, and ことがある. So I have that experience of hearing that you get smart if you eat lots of bananas. けど, but, 本当かな? 本当かな? I wonder if that is the case. かな is kind of like wondering to yourself. Is it true? Is it real? 本当かな? Okay. Then we've got いくら吹いても窓ガラスはきれいにならない。諦めよう。So, いくら is kind of like, well, when we have いくら with ても, いくら and a verb with ても, it's like no matter how much you do this verb. So, いくら吹いても, no matter how much I wipe, 窓ガラスはきれいにならない。The glass window, 窓ガラスはきれいにならない。So, きれいになる in the negative. It will not get pretty or not get clean in this case. So, no matter how much I wipe, the glass window will not get clean. 諦めよう. So, 諦める in the volitional. I give up. I've decided I'm going to give up.
日本がアメリカに輸出する車の関税が安くなります。アメリカは4月、日本が輸出する車の関税を高くしました。前の関税に 25% を足しました。その後、日本とアメリカが話し合って、車などの関税を下げることを約束しました。トランプ大統領は4日、車などの関税を 15% にすると書いた書類にサインしました。関税についてアメリカ政府と話した赤澤大臣は、2週間以内に 15% になるだろうと言いました。日本はアメリカに5500億ドル投資する約束をしています。
All right, let's get into this article.
日本がアメリカに輸出する車の関税が安くなります。
So, 日本が Japan is our subject here, marked with が。日本がアメリカに輸出する。So, to America export. アメリカに輸出する車の関税。So, 車 car 関税 is tariffs. が安くなります。So this is our grammar point that we discussed. 安い going to 安くなります。So 安い is cheap or inexpensive. 安くなります is getting cheaper or becoming less in this situation. So the tariffs on cars that Japan exports to the United States will become cheaper. 安くなります。
アメリカは4月、日本が輸出する車の関税を高くしました。
アメリカは、America or the United States は4月 in April 日本が輸出する車の関税 so same thing here the tariffs on cars that are exported by Japan 日本が輸出する車の関税を高くしました。So instead of 高くなる we have 高くする so this is to make something higher so 高い being high or expensive but here it's saying the United States in April increased the tariffs or gave tariffs on cars that Japan exports
前の関税に 25% を足しました。
前の関税に so to the previous 前の関税に to the previous tariffs 25%, 25% を足しました。So 足す is to increase or to add. So they added 25% to the previous tariffs. And this is what happened in 4月 in April.
その後、日本とアメリカが話し合って、車などの関税を下げることを約束しました。
その後、thereafter or after this, 日本とアメリカが Japan and America 話し合って so 話し合う is to discuss. This is in the te form. So 日本とアメリカが話し合って Japan and America discussed or had a discussion or talked something out. 車などの関税を so tariffs such as that's for cars を下げる to decrease ことを約束しました。So 約束する is to promise something. And if you want to promise something that is a verb in Japanese grammar, you have to turn that into a noun by using こと。So 車などの関税を下げること。To decrease tariffs on cars and the like を約束しました。They made a promise to decrease tariffs on things such as cars.
トランプ大統領は4日、車などの関税を 15% にすると書いた書類にサインしました。
トランプ大統領は、トランプ大統領、President Trump 4日 on the 4th 車などの関税を tariffs on things such as cars を 15% にする make them 15% と so this is kind of quoting all of this と書いた so something was written that the tariffs on cars and things would be 15% と書いた書類 and 書類 is documentation or a document にサインしました so President Trump signed documents that had written on them that the tariffs on cars and the like would be reduced to 15% on the 4th. So I think on the 4th is when this document was signed. So.
関税についてアメリカ政府と話した赤澤大臣は、2週間以内に 15% になるだろうと言いました。
関税についてSo, in relation to the tariffs, アメリカ政府と話した赤澤大臣。So, 赤澤, Minister Akazawa, I believe he is the minister. He's the minister of several things, but I think the relevant thing he is the minister of is like economic revitalization, I think. I believe his name is Akazawa Ryosei, if you want to look him up. But, so, Minister Akazawa, who talked 話した with the American government, the United States government, アメリカ政府と話した赤澤大臣は2週間以内に so 2週間 a period of 2 weeks this 以内に is within a period of 2 weeks 15% になるだろうと言いました so within 2 weeks the tariffs would become or be 15%. 15% になる. And then this daro is like probably. You're making a guess. Daro. You think it's probably the case. と言いました is what he said.
日本はアメリカに5500億ドル投資する約束をしています。
日本は Japanアメリカに to America 5500億ドル So 億 is a very large number and then we have 1000億 So 1000億 I believe that's 100 billion So 5,500 億 would be $550 billion I believe So アメリカに $550 billion 5500億ドル投資する to invest 約束をしています。So 約束 being promise again. So 日本は Japan has promised to invest $550 billion in the United States. So that is it for our article of the day. I will plan on seeing you next week. Thank you so much for being here. If you like these articles, please make sure you like the video and subscribe if you haven't. We'll be making these articles every single day. So thanks for being here. ありがとうございました。